Insurers can only pay based on the amount we have contributed. Hi, Mnyindo here, and you're back at Addressing Insurance. Why was your COVID-related claim not paid? For you to understand this episode, go back and watch the one that was before this to understand the context. In 2020, I was affected by COVID. And during that period, I was also pregnant. So my insurer took care of my pregnancy, but they did not take care of my COVID. I was so frustrated. I was angry. Can imagine I'm in the hospital, but the insurer was just like, we're not paying you. But for you to understand this video, you have to watch the one we did before. In the previous illustration, we were 10 friends, me, you, and 8 of our other friends, who were contributing 1 shilling each, so that in the case there was an accident, our car, which was worth 10 shillings, would be paid off. But my question is, what happens if all of us, or at least let's say 5 of us, got into a crash all at the same time, and we all have a write-off? So we are all affected, and the only amount that has been contributed and we have given to the insurer is 10 shillings. So if 5 of us have been affected, the insurer needs to pay us 50 shillings, but the insurer only has 10 shillings. Where is the insurer going to get the 40 shillings from? They don't have it. The insurer does not have it, because remember, the 10 shillings is the amount of money that we contributed, so that in the case one car, because based on our past analysis, we know it's only one car that's going to get into an accident. The insurer did not foresee that 5 cars can get an accident at the same time. And also remember that the insurer is also a business. The amount of money that the insurer pays us is the amount of money we have contributed. So where are they going to get these 40 shillings from? They do not have these 40 shillings. So the same thing with a pandemic. So what is a pandemic? A pandemic is the widespread of a disease, not even country level, continental, it could even be worldwide. And COVID-19 was that pandemic from 2020. Pandemics are diseases which insurers cannot foresee happening. In 2020, we had a pandemic. COVID-19 was the pandemic. But what exactly is a pandemic? A pandemic is a widespread of a disease, not just at country level. It could go to continental and even worldwide, just as COVID-19 did. And insurers cannot predict or foresee a pandemic happening. So what happens is they completely exclude it when they calculate the premiums. This is why this was not included. The COVID-19 cases were not included. I don't know if you've ever gone through your policy document, especially if you have a medical cover. When you go all the way down to the exclusion, you will realize that pandemics are excluded. In addition to a pandemic being excluded, a war is also excluded. These things are not covered because they affect so many people at the same time. And when insurance companies are calculating the premiums, they do not include this in the calculations, because it will make the cost go very, very high, especially since we do not know when these things are going to happen. If you're to get one thing from this video, is that insurers were not trying to be mean. Pandemics, wars, political violence, and terrorism are not covered because they affect a widespread of people, and insurance companies just do not have the capacity to pay, because insurers can only pay based on the amount we have contributed. So in the case there's a widespread of any of these situations, where exactly are they going to get this money to compensate us? The most that they did, especially during COVID-19 period, is that they gave out a bit of goodwill. They didn't have to, but they did compensate a few people to the extent that they could without getting bankrupt. This does not mean that you're completely shut out. Let's give an example. Wimbledon, I don't know if you know it, tennis. These people had paid for a pandemic cover for the last 20 years before any pandemic happened. So it means that they paid it from 2000, the year 2000. And the first time a pandemic happened, even as they paid that cover, is 20 years later. So they were compensated for the loss of income due to the Wimbledon matches not happening. And in addition, if you have a car, we have the political violence and terrorism cover. So it does not come automatically because, as I mentioned, it's an exclusion. But if you want extra protection, you can ask your insurer to add it, but at an extra premium. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we continue to address insurance together.